Hi, everyone. It's Catherine Piers again. Welcome back to the last in our series, actually, on COVID-19, the last in this series, anyway. Got a great speaker for you tonight, Paddy Wade from Orange Grove Center down in Chattanooga. Before we get started, I'm just going to go over the last of the sort of housekeeping details, which you probably all know by heart now, so I'm not going to belabor them, but there's a PDF of the PowerPoint in the materials box if you want to download the PowerPoint. If you want to ask a question, you type your question into the chat box. Patty's going to take questions at the end, although she said if you have something that's absolutely pressing and burning that you can't wait till the end for, please, write it in any time, and she will take that question. But you can put your questions in at any point. You don't have to wait till the end to write your questions in, and Kathy Bishop and I will be monitoring them. And I think that is about it. So Kathy Bishop, I will turn it over to you to introduce our speaker.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be introducing Paddy Wade, who is the director of the Orange Grove Center on Aging, Dementia, and Longevity in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Her presentation tonight will be, the stipend for it is donated to the Orange Grove Center to allow them to purchase further sterilization and infection control devices for their clinic. She works very closely and is part of Orange Grove Center with Dr. Rick Rader, who presented 2 weeks ago. And will further expand upon his discussion, when will I get sick, how to provide education and counseling to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the COVID-19 pandemic. Patty has great expertise in this area, has presented on topics related to aging and IDD, and is also an NTG affiliated regional trainer, and she and Dr. Rader do a great amount of training, especially in Tennessee, on this topic and the topic of aging, dementia, and ID. At this point, Patty, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you so much for doing this tonight. At any time, if anyone has comments, questions, we'll be monitoring them. Most of them we will hold to the end, except if there is something that you need to explained right then. So at that point, is Patty unmuted, Catherine?
Yes, she will be. I'm not. Sorry.
Okay.
And just a minute. Let me go down here to Patty, and we'll get her unmuted. Meant to do that a minute ago, and I got distracted. There we go. Okay, Patty, you should be unmuted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
we sure can.
Very good.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's very much my pleasure. My name is Paddy Wade, and we're going to talk about teaching people with intellectual disabilities about COVID-19. COVID-19 is an ongoing threat to everyone, and unfortunately, that includes people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Just one moment, please. My slides are not advancing, so give me just a second. Here we go. For their sake and ours, we must educate them. Many people with intellectual disabilities are at increased risk of both getting the virus and having more serious complications. This is due to a variety of factors. Many live in congregate settings such as group homes. Many have underlying conditions that will intensify the problem. Some won't understand or remember the recommended precautions. They may have multiple caregivers and thus are potentially exposed more often. They may have inadequate health care or healthcare professionals who are not knowledgeable about their disabilities. There may be communication difficulties hindering them from expressing when they are ill or explaining symptoms. Their regular support staff or family may be prevented from staying with them if they are hospitalized, though Dr. Rader tells me today that that is no longer a problem. Even before the specter of COVID-19, we needed to educate the people we support to be more health literate and to be more involved in their own healthcare decisions and prevention strategies. Now it is critical. The first thing to keep in mind is that there is no one-size-fits-all method for educating people. There are people with minimal impairments who learn just like we do, as well as people with profound intellectual disabilities or dementia and everything in between. We have been in crisis mode for the last couple of months, which is very difficult to sustain. Now we are in it for the long haul. We need to teach ourselves and the people whom we support what to do to protect ourselves as well as we can. Knowing the why can increase willing participation. The first thing we need to teach about are germs. Use very basic terms. Germs are small and we can't see them, but they are in the air, on things we touch, and even on us. Germs can cause people to get sick. This might be just a cold or it could be a more serious illness. There are different types of germs. One type is called a virus. This type of germ can cause the flu and other sicknesses. Then tell them there is a new virus called COVID-19. You will also hear people call it coronavirus or just the virus. This is the germ that is causing all the current changes. Because it is new, doctors do not have medicines or vaccines to prevent it from making people sick. But there are things we can all do to help ourselves and others from coming into contact with this germ and getting sick. The most important thing we can do and teach others is wash your hands. This is the best way to keep germs from spreading. We always washed our hands, but now we need to do so more often. Post several infographics around the home or workspace reminding people that this is important. There are multiple free printable pages available online. They range from cartoon characters to detailed instructions. Use whatever is appropriate for the person you support. Use several different ones, text and pictures. Let the person see you washing your hands. Say out loud what you are doing and why. I am washing my hands because I want to make sure I don't have germs on them. Every time you wash your hands, repeat what you're doing and why in a matter-of-fact tone. The next topic should be social distancing. This is a meaningless term for most of our individuals. By now, they know everything has changed. Many can't yet go back to work or usual day programs. They may not have been able to visit with their families if they live in a residential program, or may only be able to see family if they live with them. Either way, it is restrictive and easier to accept if people know why. So tell them. The next best thing we can do is not be around too many people. This is hard, but important. This will help slow the spread of germs. Germs spread easier when lots of people are together. Sometimes people are sick, and we don't want those germs to get on other people and make them sick. Sometimes you or another person might not feel sick, but can still spread the germs before we even know there's a problem. That is why we try to stay away from a lot of other people, even the ones we love. We should stay 6 feet away from people we don't live with or who don't work in our home. Ask the person, can you help me measure how far 6 feet is? This may not be a clear concept for some. Use a tape measure or ruler and have the person measure 6 feet for a visual reference. And this is me and Joanne, a lady that I work with, and we measured out 6 feet of string so she could see how far apart we needed to be. Social distancing also means trying not to touch other people. No handshakes, no hugging, just wave and smile and talk from a distance. It means avoiding large groups of people. This is why we can't go to church right now, or the movies, or even the mall, any place where there are lots of others. It is safer to stay home for now. Another topic should be masks. There is a lot of conflicting information about who should and should not wear a mask and when. Make sure you are consistent in what you tell people and that all the people around them, staff and family, follow the same guidelines. I would explain masks like this. Because we do not always know who does or does not have the coronavirus germ, it is sometimes a good idea to wear a mask or other face covering. When people cough or even just breathe, germs can get in the air and on other people. If you or I feel sick, we should wear a mask. If we need to go out, like to the doctor, or I have to buy groceries, we should wear a mask. When we need to be around people who are not from our home, we should wear a mask. Your staff may have on a mask when they need to be very close in order to help you. This might be if you need assistance with eating or in the bathroom or other activities. Sometimes it looks odd or even scary when people are wearing masks. But remember, they are wearing a mask to protect you. You will also be asked to wear a mask sometimes. This is a way that we can all help. You might want to consider printing pictures of people they know wearing a mask and see if they can guess who it is. Send a picture of them wearing a mask to family or friends with a guess who tag. Silly games like these can reinforce the idea that a mask is the new norm and make it seem much less threatening. Consider buying or making masks for each individual that express their individuality. I have a mask made from sock monkey material because I like monkeys. Maybe choose a favorite character or color or a white fabric and fabric markers for each to design their own. Fun negates fear. For many people, there will need to be frequent reminders and repetition. It is imperative that we keep a positive attitude and remain patient no matter how many times we repeat the same information. Reassure, remind, and reinforce, and never skip the reassure part. Some individuals will have concerns about when will I get sick, or what happens if I do. We need to address the fact that some of us, including them, might get sick with COVID-19. First, tell them, most of us won't get sick, but if you do, we will take good care of you. If you start to feel bad, we will take you to your doctor and see what is wrong. The doctor might want to do some tests to make sure what kind of illness you have. Not everyone who feels bad has COVID-19, but they can test to see who does or doesn't. The test for COVID-19 is done by swabbing the inside of your nose. It feels weird, but it is over quickly. The doctor will decide if you need any medicine and tell us the best ways to help you. We will make sure you have plenty of fluids and healthy food to keep you strong. You can rest and get well. You would need to stay away from most other people, but we would still take care of you. If the doctor decides that you need to go to the hospital, someone will stay with you. Most people feel better in about a week. After that, there will be another test to make sure the germ is gone. Here's some suggestions. Discuss what has changed and what hasn't. Emphasize the why. For example, we wash hands to kill germs. Ask what they know and what questions they have so you will know where to start. Use positive language and a positive tone of voice. Avoid statements that can cause excessive fear. Be factual but remain upbeat and hopeful. Explain the goals for them and for all of us. The goal is for less people to get sick and the ones that do to get well. Be realistic but also reassuring. Repeat as often as needed. Using positive language and remaining upbeat and calm is the best way to help someone learn. Avoid negative phrases like, we're stuck at home, or we can't go anywhere, or worse, there's nothing we can do. Instead, say, we're safe at home, and we're helping by choosing to stay in, or we wear masks to slow down the germs. Do not air your frustrations in front of the people you support. Another thing to encourage everyone to do is maintain a routine, even if it's a new routine. Acknowledge and validate the person's feelings and your own, then offer ways we can help in areas where we can have some control, like establishing a new routine. Get up about the same time each day, eat a healthy breakfast, and get dressed. Do not spend the day in your pajamas, or at least not very often. Encourage and help the person you support use the increased unstructured time in a way that will benefit them. This is a great time to learn something new. If the individual is not able to return to work or go out into the community, put a positive spin on it by pointing out that they have time to try new things. Gardening or cooking can best be done at home. Work at improving current skills or learning something completely new. Work on reading or writing or money skills. See if they would enjoy any form of artistic expression or music. Improving housekeeping and cleaning skills is more important than ever. Present cleaning as a way we can all prevent illness and slow down or stop the virus. All people need to feel safe and loved. Smile, stay positive, listen, and reassure. This too shall pass. Repeat positive phrases such as, you are loved and you are safe, or we all work together to keep everyone safe. Repeat these or other upbeat phrases at least daily or as often as needed. Address the negative impact of prolonged social distancing, but then tell them what all we can do to help and why. This might be FaceTime with a loved one or using snail mail to keep in contact. Use whatever method is available and appropriate for the person you support. Being away from family and friends is hard on everyone. Help people stay connected. People need reminders. There are several phrases that we can use, such as, we wash our hands to kill the germs. We wear masks in public and when we are sick so that we don't spread germs. We stand at least 6 feet away from people we don't live with or who don't work in our home. This makes it less likely for germs to spread. We stay apart from others to help keep everyone well. We keep our bodies and our homes extra clean to help stop the virus. It is hard to not see our friends and families, but we can call or write them and we will see them again soon. Encourage all caregivers to use similar phrases. As you are teaching people the preventative measures, tell them why we do or don't do things. Tell them that the recommendations change from time to time as the scientists and doctors find out more information. Tell them that you will keep them informed of all the changes you hear about. Nobody has a crystal ball. Tell them that this is not forever, but for now, and none of us know how long it will last. But also tell them it will all be okay. Saying nothing is not an option, even if you think the person does not understand. They know things are different. They need to know why, and they need to be reassured that they did nothing wrong and that they have not been abandoned, especially if they can't see family right now. We want people to know that we can all work together to make it better and that their efforts count. Tailor information to the person's cognitive ability. Use printed materials designed for both adults and children, whatever works. There are several coloring books available online, from very basic to fairly sophisticated. Sit and color with a person and discuss the information. And this is one of the ladies that I helped support. She and I had a great time coloring and talking, and I think she learned a little bit. And I had fun. It was a very good way to get the information across. And yes, I know this is repetitive, and you should be too. If nothing else, teach and remind people to wash their hands. This is the most important step. There are literally dozens of free printable information sheets about hand washing. You can choose step-by-step instructions or comic characters or a mixture. Go online with the person and let them choose what they want for their home. Post them in bathrooms and kitchens. When you wash your hands, always say what you're doing and why. I'm getting ready to fix your lunch, so I need to wash my hands so I get rid of germs. The more often information is repeated, the better it is retained. Discuss the topic frequently, but in short segments. Look for impromptu moments to work information into the conversation, such as, I like Mary's new mask. It's a pretty color and it helps protect people. Encourage frequent discussions, but if the person becomes upset, stop, regroup, and reassure. Remember, relax, reflect, and regroup as often as needed. Educating people can help them stay calm. Emphasize what they can do. Be proactive and positive. Some of our individuals have coexisting mental health issues, and the psychosocial stresses related to the COVID-19 pandemic can intensify anxiety, depression, and other mental health concerns. Help them learn ways to cope. Do not keep the television on news feeds all day. Look for lighthearted shows, old favorites if possible, play upbeat music, keep busy, and offer strategies to deal with anxiety. Talk to the person about their worries. Reassure them, then move on to a positive topic. We want to teach people the facts and what we can do, but we do not want to dwell on the virus. Again, we have some tips for talking to someone with intellectual disabilities about COVID-19. First, find out what they already know. Correct any misinformation first. Ask what they want to know or what they are confused about. Let them know that everyone has concerns, but it'll be okay. Utilize resources from respected agencies such as the CDC, NTG, or your local health department. Check associations for the condition or syndrome that your loved one has. Many have put out very good information geared toward their population. The Autism Society and the Down Syndrome Society among them, several others, and I highly recommend using these. If the person has any form of dementia or a very low IQ, recognize that you will need to repeat information daily or even more often. Aim for a matter-of-fact demeanor when presenting information, truthful but not overly dramatic. Do not overload the person with too much information at once, no more than they wanted. Keep it simple. Be realistic about what you can teach. You may not be able to get someone to quit touching their face, but you can make sure their hands are clean. Don't stress. Set a good example and comment on what you're doing. Explain unfamiliar terms like pandemic, social distancing, coronavirus, and COVID-19. Use simple language and tailor it to the person's cognitive abilities. For many people, substitute germs for virus or COVID-19. Let them know that they will hear virus, COVID-19, coronavirus, and pandemic, but they are all referring to the same thing, just different names. Praise all efforts and remind them that they can be part of the solution. In preparing for this, I asked some of the individuals that I help support and some of their other staff what questions they have or what are they hearing from others, and these are some of the responses I got. Why do you all wear masks? I can't see you or tell if you are happy. My answer, I wear a mask because I care about you and others and want to prevent germs from spreading to other people. Sometimes we might have a germ and not seem sick, so I wear a mask just to be safe. Why can't I go see my mother or other family member? The answer, when we are around other people, there's a chance we might spread germs to them or they might spread on to us. For now, it is safest if we limit who all we are around, even the people we love. Why don't we write your mom a letter or send her a picture of you waving to her? When will this be over? Answer, no one knows for sure. Scientists and others are working on better ways to treat the disease and the ways to stop the spread. If we all do our part, it will get over faster. When will I get sick? The best answer is, I hope you don't, and that is why we're staying in and keeping extra clean. But even if you do get sick, we will take very good care of you, and most people get better after a week or so. Why can my staff come in here to work, but I can't go to my job? Answer, people who work in some jobs can't stay home because others are depending on them. They are called essential workers. While everyone is important, some people like doctors, nurses, and your staff have to keep taking care of others. Other people must go to work to make sure people can eat, like the people in the grocery store. For now, people who can stay home should, to help stop the spread of germs. You are helping by staying home. If my family member gets sick, how can I help? We can send letters or cards to cheer the person up and remind them that we love them. You will have to stay away, but you can still let them know that you care. Always answer any question that you get as well as you can, but it is okay to say, I don't know. Do the best you can. Nobody has all the answers, so don't beat yourself up. Try not to stress and look for fun ways to keep yourself and those you support engaged. Keep in touch with the people that matter to them. That's one of the most important things you can do. We can come out of this pandemic smarter and stronger, and so can the people we support. Thank you very much. That's all I have, but I will answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Wonderful. Thank you, Patty. I have a couple of questions for you from me. This is Kathy Bishop. We use, all of us have some derivative of Kathy, Catherine, Kathleen to keep everybody confused. So, but I have a couple and then a number from people in the audience. I didn't do a very good job of talking about your role at Orange Grove. And could you explain your role and some of the work that you do, especially your work related to people with dementia and ID?
Yes, the Center on Aging, Dementia, and Longevity started because of concerns with some of our individuals who are getting older, and we were starting to see dementia raise its little ugly head. and knowing that we needed to do a better job of supporting these individuals. Through the NTG and a couple of other areas, I'm trained to in dementia-capable care and how to train staff. So we do training sessions here for staff, for family members. We have even done training for some of our individuals as they start to question why their housemates or friends or parents are starting to have problems and don't remember things as well as they used to or ask a lot of questions. So that, in terms of dementia, it's just a lot of training for whoever needs it. We have a virtual dementia tour that we can put people through. If they take the training, we typically do it at the end, but it's a standalone tour. So family members quite often will come when they're starting to have some concerns and want to go through the tour and see if they can get a feel for what their family member is experiencing. We're starting now to look at a lot of other aspects of aging, balance issues, preventing falls, all the fun and games that the rest of us get as we're getting older. In addition to teaching our staff, we teach staff from other similar agencies, families, as I said. We train university students from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, which is here locally. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of what we do.
Great. And can you also talk about a little bit about how the impact of COVID-19 has been on your organization, the work that you do, the people that you're working with?
It has had a large impact, as it has for most of us, I'm sure. This is a fairly large center. We have a lot of different day programs and work programs, both here at the center and off-site and scattered throughout Chattanooga. Virtually all of the day programs are shut down right now. Obviously, the individuals who live in residential homes are still there, but they're very restricted as to what they can do. They are not allowed to leave and go visit family, nor is family allowed to come in and visit them right now. I talked with one of our staff today. Two of the individuals he supports are having kind of a hard time because they're used to going to see their moms every weekend. And in one case, we're talking a young man who's in his 60s and mom's in her 90s. And they usually see each other every Saturday and Sunday. And right now, he's just talking to her on the phone. We have not been able to do a lot of the training that we have done, though we're looking at ways to do some of it online so we can continue it. Our medical and dental clinics are still open, but there's, of course, been a few changes, but they're still open and still treating people. I have been sending out training on just a variety of different things that I can send paper training to the houses. Did one on masks, just explaining what masks are and what kind, because I had one guy and he thought if he wore his Batman mask that would help him. And so we had training on what kind of mask we were talking about, that it wasn't Halloween mask, it was a different sort. Did a notebook for all of our residential program. There's 62 different homes and 3 different residential programs here on activities, physical activities that they could do at home to keep people physically active, so that we're not just sitting watching TV all day, but people are getting movement and preserving their physical and mental health as best we can. So that's kind of where my focus has been right now. There is a behavior support team here. They're still hard at work. Many of our individuals do have coexisting mental health concerns. This can be very, very difficult for people who already suffer from anxiety or depression, and this can really intensify that. So our behavior support team is working hard with them, and we're looking at ways that we can help individuals avoid anxiety, and just talking about it and letting them know that they're not alone, that this is something that we're all facing.
Great, thanks. I have some questions related to masks, so this is a good moment to give you those questions. And also want to remind everyone, if you have comments, questions, please do send them over the chat. We'll be happy to take them. First question, any suggestions for helping someone who is nonverbal understand the importance of staying home and wearing their mask when they go out?
The biggest thing is to let them see you wearing yours. Get them a mask that is comfortable. You know, there's a whole lot of different masks out there. I myself probably have a dozen now. A couple of them are really comfortable. Some of them are really cute, but they're not comfortable. So make sure that it's something soft and comfortable for the person. Make it be a color that they really like, and just keep, even if you think the person doesn't understand you, keep saying, we're doing this to keep everyone safe. You're really helping. And let them know that they are doing their part. Let them see you put your mask on, then they put theirs on. As we said in the presentation, it's very helpful if you can have a mask. If the person likes Batman, that they could have a Batman mask. If they like kitty cats, then they've got one with kitty cats on it. Or what I think is really cool is just to get a white mask and fabric markers and let them decorate their own, so they can be proud of what they're wearing when they go out, and be sure and tell everybody, hey, Susie did this herself. Isn't it pretty? And it's a hard concept for a lot of people. I hate wearing a mask, but I make myself do it. And it's okay to tell the person that. Say, I don't like it either, but we're going to do it anyway, just so we can help keep everyone safe.
Good. I saw something on the news. It was an intensive care unit nurse who was so concerned that she was often the last person that they had contact with, some of the people before they died. And she actually helped one of the organizations, local, develop masks that were clear around the mouth, so you could see the person clear and see the mouth to see if they're smiling or frowning. For staff, that probably would be great if those become more available.
Yeah, I've seen, I've not personally seen them, but I've seen of them, and I think that would be a good idea. And for people who have hearing difficulties and need to be able to read lips, something where they can see a mouth really helps. There are shields. A lot of times dental students and dental office people use them even when it's not the COVID-19. There are clear plastic shield that comes down with a headband that goes right above the brow. Mm-hmm. They're good because they protect, but they're clear, so you can see the face and see what's going on. So if it's someone who really needs that facial feedback, then that might be something worth looking at.
And a question very parallel and similar that you might have a little more to expand on. How do you help someone who is frightened when they see their staff in a mask? And I've given a lot of tips. Anything else you can think of?
Well, I will tell you what I did with one individual that I had who was kind of scared, but he didn't know who I was. With the mask on, I stood about 10 feet away and took the mask off and said, look, it's just Patti. And then I put the mask back on. I let him see me put the mask on, so he knew that it was me underneath there. If you walk into someone's home, tell them who you are. Don't assume that they know, because they may not recognize you with that mask, but your voice alone may be enough to calm them if you're a familiar person. And that might be even if your mom or sister or staff or whoever you are, is just to come in and say, hi, it's Patti, and I'm here to help. It's just me under this silly mask. It's also helpful sometimes if you do wear masks. Like you saw the picture of me with monkeys on my mask. I have a couple of individuals who laugh every time they see those monkeys because they know I like monkeys, and that helps them know it's me. Things with cartoon characters and stuff aren't as threatening. There are some masks out there with really scary faces on them. I would not wear those if I were assisting someone. If you have an ID, like here at Orange Grove, I have a photo ID, so I always wear it so they'll know that that's me. But I think one of the biggest thing is just telling them who you are, and if possible, stand far enough away from the person that you can take the mask off, show them it's you, and then let them see you put it back on.
Right. I also would wonder if any of the your organizations have people who are able to sew and make masks. You might have people pick out their particular masks they'd like to see staff wearing, or the particular materials to use. If they can help in the creating of masks, that's always great.
Yes, if they can. We had a staff member very early on. The three ladies she supports, she made the mask, but they each picked out the material they wanted, and then she made them. But there are a lot of tutorials out there for making masks, even for people who don't sew. You don't have to have a lot of skills. My sister made a couple of really cute ones, and she doesn't sew at all out of socks. And you just cut them, and it's online. You can go online. It shows you how to do it. We have been very lucky here. Our consulting podiatrist had her office staff made over 1,000 masks and donated them here. So you might look at, if you've got people in your organization that do know how to sew, or who are crafty, or just groups that want to help, see what they can do, make a variety. But even people who don't know how to sew can go online. There's lots and lots of different ways you can make masks that don't even require much or any sewing. And I think if the individual has the dexterity and ability to help do that, it'd be wonderful, because if they can make it themselves, they'll be less afraid of it. Or if someone else could make a plain one and let them decorate it, or let them pick out the material that their mask is made from.
Right. And just a comment from Renee, love this. Catherine, here's a question for you because it's an organizational question. It's, how do we get certificates for the entire series in order to submit to work?
Well, that's a good question, because we haven't been awarding certificates for the entire series or for individual sessions. So I guess we'll have to talk about that, Kathy, because we have not been doing that. There's a little bit of it's not that it can't be done, it's just a little bit of an administrative question. So you and I will have to talk about that.
Sure. And Melanie, if you would send to bizbur1@earthlink.net, my email, just send this request. I don't know that if everyone needs them, but we certainly could create something that would work for you, and we'll talk about how we can do a group. It wouldn't be a certificate, it would be, what do we call it usually?
The most it would be a certificate of attendance. And, right. and the administrative feature on that is we could only give those to people that we knew attended this live, because we do send out a link to the recordings, but we don't know if anyone ever really watches them or not. So there's some logistical things we would have to work out on it. But Kathy and I will talk about it ASAP. And if you send your information to Kathy, if it's something you need imminently, we'll work with you to get something that will work for you.
And then we'll figure out a way we can systematically have them in the future.
Yeah. Did you get Lucy Foss's question? I have to because Lucy's from Maine, my old stomping grounds, and I know Lucy. I got to make sure her question gets in there.
Go ahead, you can present it. So it comes from Maine.
Hi, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. I know I'm in South Carolina now, but my heart is always in Maine. Hi, Lucy. Lucy Foss from Maine asked, have you found that video meetings are confusing to some consumers? Good question.
Yes, some of our individuals really like them because they can be in their home on a more relaxed setting. Others are very confused, especially if there are a lot of people talking. They can't always tell who's saying what. So for me personally, and this is just my personal observation, about half and half.
Thank you. You want me to take the next question too, Kathy?
Sure, but let me just add to that. I would be amazed, especially for people with dementia who cognitively may not even be able to understand that it is a video and the person isn't in the room, that for some people it's likely it could be very frightening. And so I would watch, and if there are people that those meetings are frightening for, you probably need to find a way to get the information to them in a different way. TVs and radios traditionally have, for a number of people with dementia, have been confusing, and I would be surprised when it's becoming more often that it wouldn't still be. Go ahead.
To add to that, I have only had one Zoom type meeting with an individual who does have dementia, and quite frankly, we did not even try to include her in that. We talked to her beforehand, got, kind of her feedback as much as possible, but she's in advanced stages, and then just had the meeting because she did not understand, and she opted out. As far as like video helping people stay in contact with families, one young man, his mother has tried video chatting with him, but he'll just look at it, wave his hands, and walk off. Now, he'll call her on the phone and talk to her, but I don't think he understands why mom's on the computer. It seems to frustrate him. I have others that love it. So it's kind of a very individualized, for some it works well, for others it doesn't.
Yeah. Catherine, did you want to do Renee's comment?
Yeah, I'll do Renee's, but let me ask you a question first because it just popped into my head, Patty, before I lose the thought. I've been hearing from some families that they believe that since, their family members have been isolated, be it in the home or in the group home or, whatever setting that person is, that since they've been isolated, and these are specific to people with ID and dementia, that they're seeing a real decline in function from the person during this period of time from where they were in the pre-pandemic days. And I'm just curious if you've seen that with any of your folks at Orange Grove. And we're thrilled to have you do this tonight because all the folks here, all the trainers and all know that I always mention Orange Grove when we do workshops, and I always tell them that if they ever get to Chattanooga, they got to come visit you and Dr. Rader and visit your center because it's such a creative program. But I'm wondering if you've seen that because I've been hearing that from a number of people, and whether it's just their perception or whether, maybe there's some truth to it. Can you shed any light on what you've been seeing there at Orange Grove?
I'm hearing the same thing here. Unfortunately, I have not been able to physically go out and see the individuals I support who have dementia. I've stayed in contact with their family or staff via phone and mail, but I'm hearing the same thing from them, that they do see that there's a little quicker regression. Regression is always a consequence of inactivity, so if we're not looking at ways to keep people engaged and active while they're at home, then you are going to see regression. Also, just for people with dementia, just remembering who someone is can be hard, and if you don't see that person for weeks or months on end, they can slip away. So in talking to one of my ladies on the phone, she was having fun talking to me, but it was also apparent that she did not know who I was. whereas I think she would have in person.
Yeah.
Our behavior analyst is also reporting an increase in maladaptive behaviors. A lot of that is a result of not being able to reinforcing positive supports. We have, as I said before, individuals who are used to seeing their family and they can't. We're starting to see a lot of increase in behavioral issues. There again, another young man, I'm kind of his normal reward system. If he has a really good week, then I go take him out for lunch or we go buy some craft things. Well, we haven't been able to do that. And phone calls from me are not rewarding enough. He wants to go do something. What we have tried, I have tried with my individuals who have dementia, is I'm constantly mailing them things just so that they get something in the mail. They have something to look at, also to prompt their staff to read this to them or to go over it with them. The activity notebooks we had talked about earlier, sent those out to all of our group homes. And we have supported living, residential habilitation, and ICF all here. We sent every home an activities notebook with lots of in-home suggestions for how to keep people physically active, but also just how to keep them engaged and not just watching television.
That's a great idea, and I think, particularly for folks with Down syndrome who've developed dementia, that routine is so important to them, and this is a huge disruption in their routine not to be able to go to their day program or see their family on the weekend.
Yes, for a lot of our friends with Down syndrome, a lot of our friends with autism, this having your routines go out the window has been very disruptive for a lot of people.
Yeah. And unfortunately, no quick end in sight, I guess. Let me go to Renee's question. It says, with our consumers, repetition is the key. We have meetings about different topics, dance, visiting, exercise, that helps. So good points. Lucy Foss, back to Lucy. See, I'm taking this one, Kathy, because it's a main question. It says, some people are wearing pictures of themselves on their clothes so their clients can see who they are. So again, some reinforcement for what you were saying, Patty, about you wear your picture ID with you.
That's not a bad idea. If you've got those kind of T-shirts that have a picture of you on it, or if you've got a picture you can turn into a pin, then that's not a bad idea at all.
That actually is a pretty good idea, that you can get your picture on a T-shirt or a pin or something like that. There are companies out there that do that. So
there are, that's an activity we could all do at home too. If we've got pictures of ourselves, the individuals and the staff, we can all sit around and, make a pin out of it. Put it on, which one do you want to use on your shirt? Let them put one on their shirt, you put one on yours.
That's a great idea.
Michael's has curbside. I don't know if there's Michael's in all the areas, but that's a nationwide chain of craft supplies. They have curbside pickup for craft supplies. Some of the other places do too. So if either one staff could go out and get craft supplies, or if we could order them and go pick them up, or order them and have them come in. Oriental Trading has really inexpensive things. So they have little pin backs that you can glue to anything. So you can glue to the picture to make it into a pin.
Great activity, and it serves a very important function for a lot of people too. So I think that's a great idea.
Part of the business too is you can go on Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Oriental Trading, any of those websites with the individual and have them help pick out what would they like to work on? What would they like to try? Because right now, the one good thing is we have all this time at home to try things that we said were too time-consuming before. So let's go for it.
Point well taken. Kathy, you want to go on to the next question? Or?
The next one's Lucy, but I think it's related.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant visiting with family and friends using media like FaceTime or Zoom meetings. It doesn't matter what it is on the screen. For people with dementia, they cognitively, looking at the computer screen could be frightening because cognitively they may not be able to define what is a computer screen and why are you seeing someone that you've been told you can't visit with, but they're in front of you. If you remember the person, and remember, as people go into mid and late stages, and sometimes even in the beginning stage, they start to forget people, even familiar family members. So having that interaction be on FaceTime or Zoom can be equally, if not even more so, frightening.
It can be, and I think it's something you can try, but if you see that the person is frightened or becoming agitated, then just stop.
Yep.
And you know, because it's going to be different person to person. But I could see that for most individuals who have any form of dementia, if they're at mid-stage or later, it's probably going to scare them more than help them.
Yeah. From Donna, we have one young lady who we taught to sew her mask. I think that's perfect. I also have seen organizations where they have donated masks to local people. And so having the opportunity to do something good for the community and hopefully get some thank you notes back and some recognition for that also would be really rewarding for people who can't go to their programs.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. And Donna says, when will all the recordings be available? I think you've been generally saying in about 2 days, Catherine?
This is the last in the session, so everyone will be getting an email, and today is what? Today's Tuesday, Wednesday. So hopefully Thursday, maybe Friday, but hopefully by Thursday. There will be, everyone who has registered will be getting an email from me, and it will contain a link to each of the recordings in the series, along with any of the handouts associated to each of those recordings. And so that will be going out, you know, hopefully Thursday. Worst case scenario is Friday. I have to convert the recordings and get them all in one place. But so by the end of the week is the quick answer.
And there's another from Lucy. Catherine, do you want that one?
Oh, sure. Here, I got to get my glasses on now to read the question.
We are recognizing you Maine people.
See, I'd love to be back in Maine, but Maine is not allowing anyone from out of state in unless you quarantine for 14 days or you get a certificate within 72 hours of traveling there that you are tested negative for the virus. So I was supposed to be going there next month to do a training, but it's not looking too hopeful at the moment.
Twice now?
Yes, this will be the third time. Yes, it is. The first time their building blew up, so that was not a good thing. So I'm not. How many people can claim, you know, they've had to postpone trainings because the first time the building exploded, which was a horrible thing, and somebody died, and it was a horrible thing, and I don't mean to make light of it, but then to say, then I couldn't go the second time because it was a global pandemic. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So Lucy says, it seems hearing someone on the phone can be comforting, but seeing them is frightening because they don't always remember the person has aged when they see them visually, while the person's voice may not have changed that much. That's a really excellent point, you know, Lucy, that the voice remains more or less the same, but with that memory regression that occurs with dementia, they may be remembering that person as a much younger person, not that older person that's, you know, looking at them on the screen.
One of our ladies, Miss Melissa, and she's the one who's in the more advanced stages of dementia. She talks to her brother on the phone, or actually she listens and he talks, but she holds a picture of him.
Oh.
And that seems to be comforting to her. She will look at a picture of him, and then we hold the phone up and he talks.
That's a really good idea.
No longer very verbal, other than just a sound or a word here and there. But she smiles. I mean, you can tell she recognizes the voice because she really smiles. But we always get his picture and hand it to her, and she'll hold the picture and listen to him talk.
I love that. And I have to say, I was really touched. You mentioned the gentleman who I think you said was in his 60s or 70s, and his mom was in her 90s, and he is used to seeing her and isn't able to see her. And it's those stories that really kind of tug at the heartstrings if something were to happen to her at this point and he didn't get to see her. It's just such a hard time.
Hard on her as it is on him. They're
sure.
Yeah, that's been their routine for 60 plus years, and it's a shame to see it change. But at least he does get to talk to her on the phone, and but he is starting. He is not a person who you typically have very many behavioral issues from, very minor if at all, but he is starting to get very agitated because he can't go see his mom.
Yeah, well, and understandably, Thank you. I mean, this has been great. I think the last question I see is about another wonderful webinar, and I think you've provided us with lots and lots of really easy to implement, creative suggestions that I have no doubt people are going to take back and put into place. And so for me, I think good thought.
It's just don't do nothing. Even if you think the individual doesn't understand you at all because of dementia or low IQ, tell them things anyway, because you really don't 100% know how much of it is sinking in, and just because you're talking and interacting, you're doing a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kathy, back to you, I guess. Somebody just said they have lots of notes lots of notes to review and implement. Greatly appreciate. Oh, that was Lucy. That's the main connection there. I think everybody probably feels the same way. Somebody asked again to Kathy, and just because this is an administrative question, I'll take it. But will there be some kind of proof of attendance completion of these webinars? We have not heretofore offered that. But I will, as I said earlier, Kathy and I will talk about that ASAP and see what we can do. There's a little bit of some administrative sort of questions that we need to think about, but we will get that figured out. And I will include information on whatever that is in the email that you will get at the end of the week with the link to the webinars and all the related materials. So I'll let you know what we come up with in that same email.
Right, and we can talk about how we can do that process in the future. Just to let you know, I am working on a third, have decided also to make that COVID-19 series. There will be 4 in the series. It will be offered, as it always is, to the NTG affiliated regional trainers free, but we will also offer it to the general public for a small fee as well. The first one will be on the issues, the ARC of the U.S. and the COVID Relief Fund. They will have representatives who will discuss some of the challenges and some of the solutions that they have come up with and some of the work that's being done. We then have a wonderful gentleman who does dance, rhythm, music, who will be talking about how to be able to do these activities virtually with some wonderful creative ideas. We then will have another of our occupational therapist, Dr. Henge, who will talk about ways to build in ADLs and support people during COVID-19 to make them part of daily routine, but also as part of activities and successful activities. And then our 4th in the series will be talking about other than the behavior being a problem, what are the underlying causes and what may be going on in the environment. And we'll also include a piece on how behaviors may be expected for people with COVID-19 and how all of this is impacting. Those will be going out, probably the announcements for that sometime next week. We're in the process of transitioning to an upgraded program, and that upgrade going to so we can have larger attendance. After that is completed, we'll be able to send out the links and the announcements. Catherine, anything else?
Nothing more for me. Just stay safe, everybody, and thank you all for being with us tonight. And we'll hopefully see everyone on the next series of webinars.
And Patti, thank you so much. This was a wonderful presentation. It helps us remind us all of the small ways that we can make a huge difference.
Just filled with lots of practical tips that I just know people are going to really take back and implement. So thank you very, very much, Patti.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks. Everyone, please stay safe and stay healthy. And until we're back together again, we're also always available if you have questions or concerns. Please don't hesitate to contact the NTG or Catherine Piers, and I'm Kathy Bishop, either one of us, as well as representatives of the NTG. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Patti.
Good night. Goodbye.